Thank you for taking a moment to listen to me talk about the importance of marriage. I would like to share with you a quote from George W. Bush. Some people once asked him, "What is the secret for a long marriage?" To which he replied, "We take time to go to a restaurant 2 times a week, a little candlelight dinner, a little soft music, maybe some dancing." And then he said, "She goes on Tuesdays and I go on Fridays." He was joking, of course, but this man valued God's purpose for marriage. Being married for 17 years, I can say that I defy the odds of statistics today in our society. God created marriage and holds it in high esteem. It is my purpose in this time to share with you the importance that God says about marriage. Society's view is that when the going gets rough, the rough gets divorced. Statistics state that every 13 seconds, someone gets divorced. That's 6,646 divorces a day, which also equals 46,523 divorces per week. It's a lot of divorces. If these statistics aren't enough for you, 41% of all divorces will end up, or marriages will end up in a divorce. And 60% of all marriages, or second marriages, will end up in divorce. 73% of all third marriages will end up in divorce. Those that are 25 and older are 24% less likely to get divorced, and those who go to college are actually 13% less likely to get divorced. Evangelical Christians are 35% less likely to get divorced. So what does the Bible say about marriage and about divorce? There's over 500 verses in the Bible. Donald Elvin makes his notes in his book about several different verses. He mentions Genesis 2:24, where it says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one." Hebrews 13:4 states, "Let marriage be held in honor and among all, and let the marriage bed be undefiled." As you can see, 500 verses clearly defines that God had not only created this, but it is highly esteemed. God talks about marriage not just in the Old Testament, but it carries on into the New Testament, where Jesus had spoke very much about it. He was with some Pharisees at one point. In Matthew 19, verse 3, it says, "And some Pharisees came to him, testing him and saying, 'Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for any cause at all?' And he answered and said, 'Have you not read that he who created them from the beginning, male and female, and said, for that cause a man shall leave his father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. Consequently, they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined, let no man separate.' They said to him, 'Why then did Moses command to give her a certificate of divorce and send her away?' He said to them, 'This was because your hardness of heart Moses permitted you to divorce your wife. But from the beginning it had not been this way.'" God never intended for divorce. It was never his plan. Jesus reiterates very clearly that his plan was always for the two, man and woman, to become one. Mary Fairchild notes in her articles that Amazon currently has 20,000 books about marriage and guidance and counsel of marriage. This is clearly a cry of society's help. The repercussions of divorce has been seen in statistics with children and their children. But how does this get fixed? The only way that marriage and divorce gets fixed is that people need to come back to the biblical roots of Christianity. If people value God's word and value His values, then people will clearly come back to these things that He honors, which is marriage and not divorce. These are the things that God highly esteems, and marriage is one of these things.